All right, well, we want to welcome all of you and congratulate you. My name is Bill McGrane,
And Linda McGrane.
and we want to congratulate you for choosing to be a part of this webinar. Because, it really shows you that you want to grow closer and feel more connected in your marriage and relationships. And whether you're single, wanting to be married, or are married and want to restore and supercharge your marriage, this webinar is definitely for you.
So we would like to start off with a prayer. So let us pray now. We just thank you, dear Heavenly Father. We thank you for all of the blessings that you are pouring out on us. We thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. And we just ask that you would show your presence, that you would be present with every person, Lord, that's within the sound of our voice, that you would enter their homes and bring peace and love, that you would place your hand on their forehead, Lord, and that you would unlock love for them. You would unlock places that are stuck. That as we do this webinar tonight, Lord, that you would take charge, that you would send your Holy Spirit ahead of us and open doors, and we close doors that would have any negative impact or any negative feelings, or that would draw down people, Lord, but that you would open doors to be able to show tremendous love, and where people can just change little tiny things through this seminar, Lord, that you might be able to open them up to unlock what is keeping them inside of themselves and not allowing you to flow through them. So we just give this to you, Lord, and we ask that you would provide Bill and I, that you would use us as mouthpieces, and that we would stay within the perfect will of the Father, and that you would just take charge of this entire time. So we just thank you for this opportunity, Father, and we thank you for your love. We thank you, Lord, that your presence and you are going ahead of time to open the doors that need to be opened so that people can move forward in the assignments that you have given them. In Jesus' mighty name, we pray.
Thank you, my darling. So each of you are here because you know you want something exciting to happen. You want something to go to the next level. And oftentimes what people have is they don't realize what the possibilities are. The reason that we invited you to be in our webinar today is because Linda and I are passionate about being able to make relationships go to a whole nother level. We call it having a goosebump marriage. And if you don't have that, well, stay tuned because we want to share ideas that will help you with this. Now, do you have a question? At the end of our webinar, we will answer your questions. And at any time, if you have a question, just go ahead and type it into the Q&A. And to ask your question, just very simply at the bottom of your Zoom page, it will say Q&A, and just leave your chat and leave your question there, and then we will respond to it. We will help you take your marriage from a -0 to 6 all the way up to a 9 or 10 to feeling appreciated, heard, and seen for who you really are. And what we're sharing with you today in our 25-minute marriage transformation are skills and tools that would take you to a whole nother level.
So we're sought out for our expertise in providing the tools and teaching for transformed and renewed marriages. People say that we are the experts to go to after couples have been everywhere else. Often referrals come from other coaches, ministers, psychiatrists, and psychologists. We just celebrated our 28th wedding anniversary, and we're known for restoring and creating what we call a goosebump marriage.
And so let's jump right into our program tonight, because we want to give you 3 keys that you're going to be able to use to restore your relationship. Now, we've worked with couples from many countries, and we've helped unite them and to refresh them into a healthier individual, creating deeply intimate, powerful partnerships that overflow with what we call passion and purpose. We're also the authors of 15 books on personal development, communications, and our 90-day program that we're speaking about tonight called The Secrets to Creating Loving Relationships That No One Was Ever Taught. And let's just jump right into it right now and give you those tools of transformation so that you can really experience what we call the experience of the program. And this program is for married couples, individuals having trouble getting their spouse to attend, or those wanting to be married. You might find yourself in a situation where you want to relax right now and just enjoy the webinar. You don't have to take notes if you don't want to, because we're going to send you a replay so that you don't need to feel like you're missing out on something. And you will find some real gems that you will want to remember and probably replay this over and over again. So we're going to give you a scenario right now that I'd like you to consider. And if this isn't appropriate for you, just please go ahead and think of your own version of a scenario that works for you. So you're in the middle of what you wanted to be an honest discussion. Now it's become an argument that's escalated to a situation that you've done a million times before, getting the same exact result of no resolution. And you just begin raising your voice, becoming more aggressive. Your words are coming faster and faster, louder and louder, because you're determined to break through this time to get a different result from him or her to really hear you and understand. It seems so logical to you, simple, right? You can't understand why they don't or won't get it. Maybe you think you know what you're going to say next or what they're going to say. And it only gets worse and it continues to escalate. It may be that husband cannot get the wife to just shut up. She keeps going on, and he cannot stand what he's hearing as he takes it as constant nagging over and over again and the same old story. He's feeling totally disrespected and wants to just ignore the whole conversation and begins to clam up.
But how about her? She may be feeling more and more disconnected, insignificant, hurt, feeling unloved for who she is, and of course being attacked. And now it's become a vicious cycle. So it's inside her being. Have you ever had a version of this situation or something like it? If not, do you have your own version? I want you to feel that and get into that moment now. What have you done in the past to correct it? What would you do differently? Now that you have some time to think about it, take a piece of paper and write down your answers. If you like, you can put them in the Q&A by clicking on the Q&A button and typing your answers, and the only people who will see it is us. So what would your answer to these questions be? Or what would your solution to this situation be like in your marriage if this came up? How would you feel? How would you react? And then suppose you thought about it for a few days because it was bugging you in your marriage, bugging you in your spirit. What would you come up with after a few days? Would you have different answers?
So we now want to role play a typical issue that many couples have. And we want you to see what this situation would be like because you may have your own situation that comes up in your own particular relationship. So let's give them an example.
Okay. Honey, I am so angry. I am just so angry. I hardly know what to do because I went down and I found this document. And on the document, it is the exact opposite of what we made an agreement to.
What are you talking about?
Oh, wait.
Hey,
I don't
I've heard enough.
No. I see that you went to a million other places and got all kinds of information. You didn't even tell me you were going to do it. You didn't even tell me that you had new information.
You're always doing the same thing again and again yourself.
I can't handle this any longer.
I'm tired of it too. You're so frustrating to deal with. All right, now you got that situation. I don't know. Have you ever had a situation like that where you think she's right, she thinks you're wrong? So what did you notice about that situation? Well, first of all, she was on an attack mode, right? And so instantly I'm already feeling attacked. And what did you notice I did? Well, I just attacked back. The tit for tat, trying to get back at each other because you just don't feel like you're being understood.
And I was judging him because I had in my own head concepts that I thought without having any information, I just jumped to because of perhaps maybe prior things that had happened, maybe in my own life that had nothing to do with him, but maybe some of these same kinds of things had happened before. And so I just took all of that and had it all in my mind, got me to a position where I just wanted to fight. I just wanted to get back at him. I just wanted blood. And so now I'm just after him and it's revving in my whole body, making me spiral down and not able to really think or be able to go to a position of any resolution because my mind is racing in a negative place or a negative manner.
And I was doing the same thing. So there's an example of what doesn't work. So now let's give you an example of what does work. So let's take another scenario.
Okay, so, okay, honey, I'm so angry. I just came back. I saw all of this stuff and I just am so upset because we made an agreement and over again, you keep breaking these agreements.
What did I do that didn't work for you?
Well, when I read these documents, I see that it isn't what we had agreed to.
So you didn't feel I honored a commitment that I made to you in the past?
Yes, I don't feel like you did. I see it right here.
Yeah, darling, I apologize for that because you're right. I was just trying to go quickly. You know how I do that sometimes. And I apologize for that. What can we do differently to make it better?
Well, what I'd like to do is if you get new information, which it looks like you had new information, and so then you went ahead and took that new information and made and changed the agreement we had to do a new thing without my knowing it. Number one, I would like to know it. The first part would be for you to come tell me, and then I can at least know what's going on. I need to have an awareness of what's happening. Otherwise, I feel like you're running off without me and then I'm disconnected from you. And that gets me into fear.
And that's the last thing I really want to have happen.
Yes.
You know, the truth is I want to be connected to you and I want to give you the information, but sometimes things happen fast. So here's what I can do. I will commit to doing the best that I can to change that. And if it isn't working, would you let me know?
Yes. And what is it that you're going to do the best you can to change that?
Well, so you want specifics.
Mhm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to what you're telling me that you want me to see. I'm going to update you if there's new information and let you know, hey, honey, I got some new information here that I didn't have before. And then I'm going to share that information with you so that you're up to date.
Okay. And
Will that work for you?
It will. How will I know that? How are you going to share this? Are we going to have a conversation? Are you?
Yeah, to be a dialogue back and forth, or if it's not working, just let me know.
Well, sometimes you said things happen quickly. So how am I going to be updated if things are happening quickly for you?
I'll do the best that I can. That's all I can promise you. I think that once I realize that I didn't give you all the information you need, I will work on giving that to you.
That will work for me.
Awesome.
We'll try it. How about if we try it and see how it works? And if it doesn't work, then we can tweak it so that it does work.
Sounds great. Because really, that's really what I want to do is I want to have connection.
Me too. Me too.
All right. So you now see that situation. So what's the difference in that situation versus the second situation? Well, first of all, I believe what I did when she was upset was I listened to her and I didn't immediately jump in and attack her back. The other thing that I did, if you'll notice, is I asked her some questions because they were neutral questions. They were questions to create connection because sometimes you can ask questions that create disconnection or even make it escalate to a whole nother level. And then the other thing is I apologized and I took responsibility for my behavior and what I did or didn't do so that she knew exactly where I was coming from. What else did you notice?
Well, what I did is that I stopped judging you. And when you asked me questions and apologized, it gave me the space to really think about what it was that I was feeling. And what I was really reacting to more than a changed document, because when I had time to think about what you actually changed, it was for the better. But I didn't see that right away because fear instantly came up thinking that you were running off and doing something without me knowing what it was that you were doing. So it connected to distrust for me and fear. And so when I can disconnect from that, when you ask questions, it helps me get clear so that I understand where my feelings are really coming from. So instead of trying to be vindictive, I can take responsibility for my own feelings and realize what was going on. And that way, then I have the space in the room to be able to come to a conclusion that really will work for both of us. And what we have definitely noticed in our marriage is that without a doubt, 100% of the time, even if it looks like we're at 180-degree ends, by talking it out and coming to a conclusion that both of us can agree on, it always, always, always is a better solution. It always, always, always is better for the other people. It's always better for ourselves. It's better for our marriage. And when people ask questions, then it begins to heal some of those things that I was feeling, distrust, fear that he had run off and doing something else that I didn't know about. So it keeps me, I have resolution. I know where he is, so then I don't have fear. And I'm not trying to stop something bad from happening, which then keeps me spiraling down when I do that, because then my thoughts go off into a million directions, which do nothing but create an open door for the enemy. So we want to close all of those doors.
So, what we want to do now is to give you some tools that you can practically use to create more of the loving relationships that you want. And here's a phrase, you may want to write this down if you're taking notes, and that is this: make the relationship more important than the task or issue. So often we get stuck in that issue or the topic we're discussing. We're holding on to our position that we really don't bring love back to the present place that allows that connection to happen. Everybody's after love. Everybody's after connection. And so we want to give you more tools to do that. So we've created a PowerPoint that we want to share here with you.
But
That,
before you go there, what I want to ask the participants is that, so what would your answer be? How would you have resolved this? Or if this doesn't work for you, if you don't have anything like that in your situation, go to your own situation and how would you stop it? What would you do differently? What are you writing down on your paper or going to the chat and putting in the answers?
all right, so we want to share with you the core of our message tonight, which is core principles that are going to allow you to move forward. And these are little segments that we're taking from our Secrets to Creating Loving Relationships program that we're offering that's starting very soon. Now, each of you, there are three keys we're sharing. Key number one is, are you communicating in a way that creates love and connection?
Number one, there are 4 steps towards the objective of all communication being total, unconditional love. That's the objective, is always staying in love. When we're not in love, we're way off. And then we have a possibility of hurting each other and making very unwise decisions.
And you know, it really is this simple. You're either coming from love or fear. And if you're coming from fear, that's where you want to apply the tools that we're giving you here. So A is you want to see the problem from the other person's point of view. You know, so often we're focused on our agenda instead of understanding the agenda of someone else.
So you want to seek first to understand. So my agenda would have been to seek first. I needed to ask Bill a question. Hey, look, this is what I found. Tell me more about this. Seek his understanding first, his point of view, and then give him my own. And that would have kept us out of an argument, out of spiraling down.
Next is when someone is deeply understood, it validates who they are. They feel heard and it heals a piece of them.
Number B, so identify the key issues and the concerns, not the positions involved. My position was attack. Stay out of the positions that you're involved in and just go to the key issue. What am I trying to tell him? What is he trying to tell me? What is his key concern?
And you want to ask questions because it gives you information and it also shows that you really care.
Because statements will kill communication. And that's what we were doing. And there were no questions. We were just giving statements back and forth to one another. That does nothing but kill the communication. But if you have questions, it stops it and opens up, and it unlocks the communications.
So an example of this are some stems that you can use. And the first stem is, what do you need and how can I help?
Another idea is, what else do you want me to know?
And what would allow us to move forward? Notice how those questions are designed in a way that they create relationship instead of disconnection.
The power of asking questions gets the person to empty themselves and gets clear on their own feelings.
And C, it determines what results would be fully, you want to determine what results would be fully acceptable solution to both of you, not just you, but really to both of you.
And D, you want to identify new possible options to achieve those results. So when Bill was trying to resolve it with me, that's what he was doing, is giving me options to achieve those results.
So, key number two is, how is being judgmental killing you and your relationships?
Number one, the process of the mind comparing something to see if there's agreement with what you hold as true. So it's looking at something and saying, is that how I believe? And if not, then we judge it.
Number two is 95% of value judging is done on an unconscious basis. You don't even know you're doing it. And for most people, they're not even aware that really the killer of love and what creates fear is value judging. When you have a belief system that you believe is right, wrong, the gospel according to you, and when you get into value judging, your mind is shut off. It's not open to hearing new ideas.
So number three, what are the ways that you judge? Well, one way you can tell is you feel heavy. You don't feel good about it. You're not light. You're not yourself. You're impatient, really, really impatient. And maybe you label yourself or others, like you say, am I bad? Or that was a really stupid thing. What made me do that? Watch the language, and whatever language you use, it will give you a clue as to if you're value judging. And then, as Bill has already said, fear then is more present than love. If you're in fear, you're value judging something. It's taking you off course. It's a lie.
So, number four is, when we criticize or judge, we now condemn ourselves to the same thing we just judge that other person for. Doesn't that often happen, where you think you're right and then you find out that you're being so judgmental in what you're doing?
So an example of that is when I was just the things that I was accusing Bill of later on, then I would find myself doing the same thing, having an opportunity to move forward without checking with him. Only it might be in a bigger way or a different way, but it was basically the same thing. I remember one time when we were listening to a podcast, and the information was great information, but the person was using or what was he using? He was using
I statements.
he was using, oh, it was some, okay, he was using okay. At the end of almost every word, he would say, okay, okay. Well, throughout the, throughout the talk, we began to then to each other say, okay, okay. And we were doing it totally unconsciously. Well, I went down then later in the week to write a document. And when I reread it, I was transcribing it. And when I reread it, at the end of it, it all said, okay, okay, okay. I didn't even know that I had completely, because I had judged him, I had now changed my own behavior to him, and it was coming out of my own mouth. So these are things that are very insidious, but it absolutely kills love in any relationship.
So, number six is, we will hear what others say as being critical of us. And so often we are looking to be criticized, or we don't want to be criticized, but we continue to attack, and criticism definitely does not work.
So what do we do instead? Well, we want to notice, we and make observations, and we would definitely have preferences. Like in my situation, I noticed that this person was using okay, but I can have a preference of not doing that, but I don't judge him. I just evaluate it. The best way is to affirm. Look at what they are doing that's correct. Come and give an affirmation to somebody when they're thinking that you're going to come and be criticizing them. Look at what's the best in them. Look at how Christ sees them and give an affirmation to them. And that will definitely, that stops the value judging, but it also then turns it from a negative to a positive.
So, key number three is, what are your false beliefs? Number one is, false belief systems are created unconsciously through events and traumas we experience by decisions we make at the time of the event. And usually they're like instantaneous. And then now we're so sensitized to this that we don't really realize what we're doing.
So number two, belief systems helped us to survive at the moment. We needed them to come through the situation. But now we're using that same pattern, and it keeps us stuck in the very things that we're desperately trying to avoid. And no matter what the cost of the relationship, we can't get out of it.
So number three is we cannot go against the false belief system that we've had. Our brain will not allow it, even if it doesn't make sense. The belief system creates the same behavior repeatedly. And so this really frustrates people because you or your spouse or a loved one, you constantly are redoing and rehashing the same things. Unless you get new skills and new ways of operating, you're going to keep repeating the same things that don't work. Number
So
four.
number four, belief systems are created on an unconscious level from the womb until death. And that's how come they're really ingrained. And so this is one of the things that we do in our program. It really takes help from another outside source, an individual that is skilled to see this, to help you get out of what your false beliefs are. Because they are so stuck because it's kind of like breathing. You don't know because that's all you've experienced.
So number five is that's why it's not your fault. However, it's your opportunity. You see, blaming people doesn't work. And if people knew how to do better, wouldn't they do better? If you knew how to do better, wouldn't you do better? The problem is we can only make choices up to the level of awareness that we have.
So number six, in a marriage, the wounds of each person tend to be perfectly matched to trigger each other. And that I think is why God put us together, is because then we can heal one another. But truly, Bill's triggers trigger me, my triggers trigger him. And this is what happens in a marriage invariably. And this is one of the key things to be able to unlock and uncover so that you know how to get out of this pattern.
So for those of you who want to know more about our program and what we offer, here's what our 12-week experience will look like and feel like in the program. It's called
The secrets to creating loving relationships that no one was ever taught. And it's a 90-day experiential live experience. So week one, you're going to see things already from a whole new perspective. You're going to begin to discover where possible issues lie and how to correct them. So you'll have an awareness of your own behavior and how that affects your partner. You'll begin to communicate more clearly with distinct understanding. You'll have more respect for yourself and for others. But most importantly, you're going to stop giving yourself away just to be accepted. You'll learn to take back pieces of yourself that you lost in trying to get your own needs met and in not being able to get them met because you didn't know how to go about it. By taking care of children or other people or letting things get in the way of your needs and making them last instead of first. So by the middle of the program, you will have old walls that have been built up for years and years through pain and disappointment, distrust. All of these walls are going to be coming down, and you will let go of the baggage that has dragged you down for years and years and years. So you'll have a whole new understanding of why you behave the way you do and how come your spouse behaves the way he does. You will have dealt with unresolved conflicts and know how to go back and not to go back to these conflicts and keep stuffing them. You'll have peace, no more walking on eggshells. You'll be able to work through conflict, communicating at an entirely new level. You'll be well on your way to create significant trust, love, patience, and a feeling of safety so that now you can address any issue, even the ones that are challenging. You'll be able to address and know how to get through any issue. And at the end of the program, you're going to feel like you're in a whole different level of love, respect, intimacy, passion. You're going to have true joy and a peace in your family, a peace with your spouse. You will have the tools and the structure to be able to work through any issue, any future issue, anything that comes up. That's the best part. We give you a whole system that you can go through so that whatever comes up in the future, you'll know exactly how to do it. And you'll have a whole workbook, in case you've forgotten, to be able to go back and look at that. So as you do this, you're even going to be creating more and more connectedness year after year, because you'll learn how to work together for real partnerships, moving towards the purpose for which your marriage was created and for which God has created both of you.
So, what's the cost of not working through your issues? You probably already know this already. The question is, what do you do about it? So what we did is we've looked at a few costs that were interesting to us. First of all, a traditional marriage counseling program on the low end is about $150 an hour. And therefore, if you spend 8 hours a month, that's $1,200 in just the first month. And if you do that for a total of 3 months, that's $3,600. And this is if you can find a good counselor, because a lot of people have been wounded by people that they've been in counseling with.
And then what would it cost if you don't fix your marriage and end up in divorce? Well, the average expense just for the attorney is $15,000 to $20,000, and that is just for the attorney. Complicated divorces revolving around property or child custody, maybe even way more expensive. Such cases can cost over $100,000 and they take years to resolve.
And hopefully you haven't been going to deal with that. So what we wanted to do today is to remove these barriers that could get in the way of you getting the very results that you want. And we want to show you quickly how in the first week of our program that you can start using these skills immediately that we're sharing with you.
We have what people have told us is great news about the price ever since we started our extended payment plan.
So the extended payment plan for this 90-day program is $514 billed for 3 months. And if you prefer, you can still do one payment if you'd like to do that.
But if you do the math, you'll see that the 3 payment option is just very slightly over the full payment amount.
So what I want to do now is I want to share with you what you're specifically going to get by being a part of this, because it's really about taking your skills to a whole nother level. And if you already knew how to do this, you probably would already be doing it. The problem is that most people don't know how and the ways that they can really do it in a way that really works for them. So here you see the secrets to creating loving relationships. And if you go, when you later on go to McGrane.com, it's going to show you these details. But very simply, if you want to register right away, you can just click on yes, save my spot. You're going to see some examples of celebrities and top people that we've worked in and their testimonials that they've given to us. You're going to actually see a video of a couple that we helped restore their marriage, which also, by the way, helped restore their family. And what you're going to receive in the program are these key skills.
So stage 1, you're going to remove the brick walls. So we give you exercises to know how to do that. And then we're going to relearn communication because you've got patterns that aren't working, that you never knew anything else, because that's how your mother or your father, that's how your teachers or siblings learn to resolve things. 3, you're going to resolve conflict. And 4, you're going to rekindle the passion, love, and intimacy that you've always thought you could have or you always dreamed about having.
You know, one of the things that happens to people is they get stuck in ruts. And wherever you are in your relationship or your marriage right now, you know that something needs to be different. But if you keep doing the same cycle over and over again, it's not going to change anything. You have to get new skills to get new results. The other thing that we're going to give to you is a bonus. We have weekly videos. So in case you don't actually are a part of the program that session, you're able to get the replays and watch them over and over again. And that will give you the skills and tools that you'll need.
So these are the bonuses. You're going to have an 80-page workbook. That just the workbook alone is valued over $700. And then there's a weekly private Facebook group with all the like-minded people. You've got support and accountability and continued learning. These are people that are working on the same kinds of issues that you are. So you're going to find support and actually a lot more growth. And that is a value of $2,600. So when you total up all the bonuses, they total up to $4,100. And so just the bonuses alone are worth way more than the class.
So a lot of the times we hear people say, well, you know, I don't have the time for this. And so you can click this button, you can read more about that, you can see a testimonial, and you'll actually see like Barry and Lori Wanger sharing their examples of what they got out of it. So these are real live couples that we've worked with that have gotten results.
And many of them were on the brink of divorce. So they were trying, this class was kind of the end for them. If they didn't make it through that, they were considering divorce.
So for you to go forward, you have two choices. You can make one full payment of $14.97, or 3 monthly payments for 514, and it goes through all the details. Again, here are the bonuses. But then what you can do is you can click down here, save my spot, and if you're ready to register, you can simply go here and you have the choice. You just click on the button for the full payment or the 3 payments to give you the options. And again, it shows you the bonuses. And Larry, if you will, go ahead in the chat now and put the link in there so that people can get this and actually register if they'd like. Do you want to continue?
Sure. So we're here to help you. And we don't counsel people. We train with them for victory. And so don't let anything get in the way. If you would like to go to this class, if you feel like it's an answer to prayer, if you feel that this will finally give you the peace, the communication skills, how to work through the conflict that you have, this is the time to do it. So don't let anything get in the way. So if you'd love to do that, but there are things that you feel are coming up, getting in the way of you doing it, don't hesitate to call us. So the telephone number is in the chat. Maybe Larry, you could put it there, but I'll give it to you. It's 859-384-6333. So contact us and let us know what is the mountain that you're trying to climb over. Maybe we can help get you through that. We will do our very best to help take away anything that's getting in the way of your victory, because you deserve this victory. This is the time for 2025. Start it in a new place. When you get your marriage intact, then you will know everything begins to explode. It's a foundation. It's a foundation, and it's a covenant that God has with us. So we have assignments. Our marriage has an anointing. Our marriage has an assignment. And so don't miss out on that, because we are committed to partnering with you to get to the core of your issues and immediately begin to build skills to increase your joy and love for your very own goosebump marriage. So we're talking directly to people who have nearly given up hope, or they're trying other ways to help their marriage. Maybe they've read books, maybe they've had other advice, perhaps they've even had other counseling. Please don't give up hope on your marriage before you try our program first. Until you reach out, call us. You can have a free consultation, and by just calling that number or getting in touch with, it's on the getting in touch with Calendly. So don't let anything get in the way for your success of 2025. Make your marriage, reset it, get it in gear to be able to take your assignment that God has given you to whole new heights and soar in success for 2025. So give us a call at 859-384-6333.
And you can go to our website, McGrane.com, and there you'll see that you can sign up for a free coaching session. You can look at the calendar, see what works for you, and pick a time and date. And we'll discuss privately what your particular situation is. If you want to go ahead and register for the program, you can simply go to McGrane.com, or you can go to the link that's in the chat right now, click on that, and that will give you all the information and you can register. Now, this program begins January the 14th. It's next Tuesday, a week from tonight. It's 7 p.m. to probably about an hour and a half program. It's a 2-hour commitment each week for 12 weeks. And what Linda and I will be doing is going through each of these processes with you. There are over 80 pages of material that we're going to go through with you. But what's really more important than the content is being able to show you how to apply it to your life situation. You know, you've probably had enough knowledge and content already. What you really need are tools that you can instantly apply that night, that next day, and that's what we show you how to do. The other thing is you're going to be a part of a community of like-minded people. And you're going to find as you go through this, because we've been doing this for years now, you're going to find a connection to the people that you're going to love, and you're going to look forward to seeing each other. And for whatever reasons, if you have an issue come up that you can't be a part of it, we record all of the programs, and then you'll have each of them as a replay that you can watch for the rest of your life. You'll have access to that, not just for right now, but for the rest of your life. That's a value that you can continue using and growing over and over again with. So if you have a question now, this is your opportunity, if you will, put it in the chat. You can go ahead and just put any of the questions that you have that you'd like to bring up. Go ahead and put them in the Q&A and we will respond to them. One of the things that happens is that many people don't feel they deserve, and they don't have the level of self-esteem to create the kind of relationship that they want. So they live in quiet desperation. They live in pain. And they don't realize there's a way through that pain if they very simply can just know what that next step they need to take. And that's what we want to do, is to give you those next steps that you can take. And so when you look at the opportunities that you have available to you, it's really simple. When you make a decision to make a decision, that's when things get really exciting. Now, we want to give another bonus to you. So for those of you who register right away, we're going to give you 2 bonuses. And the first bonus is a report that we created called Asking Questions for Better Communication. Because the number one issue that marriages have and all relationships have is communicating in a way that you feel understood and the other person feels understood. So that alone is a value that can really make a difference in your life. The second bonus we're going to give to you is a video. And it's what we call creating more TUL in your life and your relationships. And what's TUL? Total unconditional love. And when you get total unconditional love, it makes all the difference in the world. Any final comments you want to share, darling?
Well, if anyone has a scenario even they'd like to run by us to give an example of how to do things better, that's an option. Do we have any other questions in the chat?
Not at the moment, but if you do, you can call us at 859-384-6333. You can be able to go to our website, mcgrane.com, mcgrane.com. You can click on the information about the class, The Secrets to Creating Loving Relationships That No One Was Ever Taught. It starts January the 14th, a week from this Tuesday that we're on right now. Now, you may be, as we're part of this, you're thinking about people, maybe family members, maybe friends, maybe neighbors or people that you work with, that they're going through issues. And so we encourage you to let them know about this program, because it's something that really is life-changing. So we want to thank everybody for being a part of this live event. We look forward to hearing from you. And more importantly, we look forward to having you be a part of our next program starting next week. Take care, everybody.
Looking
Bye-bye.
forward to seeing you all.